Everybody.
Thank you guys so much. Okay. Good evening. We're going to call the meeting to order at 5:30. Could we get a roll call, please?
Counselor Allen,
Here.
Counselor Hires is absent. Counselor Baker. Counselor Long.
Here.
We have a quorum.
So we'll go right into the invocation. We have with us this evening Reverend Clifton Lohman with First Lutheran Church.
Let us pray. Eternal Lord, ruler of all, graciously regard those who have been set in positions of authority among us, that guided by your Spirit, they may be high in purpose, wise in counsel, firm in good resolution, and unwavering in duty, that under them we may be governed quietly and peaceably, enlighten and defend them, and grant them wisdom and understanding, that under their peaceable governance, your people may be guarded and directed in righteousness, quietness, and unity. Grant that we remember your generosity and constantly do your will. Bless our Lord, our land, with honest industry, truthful education, and an honorable way of life. Save us from violence, discord, and confusion, from pride and arrogance, and from every evil course of action. Bless and prosper those who maintain the industries and service sectors of this land. Give them a right regard for their labors, and grant them the just reward for their work, that they may find joy in serving you and in supplying our needs. Prosper the work of farmers and all those who labor to bring food to our table. Grant them seasonable weather, that they may gather in the fruits of the earth in abundance and proclaim your goodness with thanksgiving. Stretch forth your mighty arm to strengthen and protect those who serve us in times of emergency in our community. Support them in times of tragedy and need, giving them courage and loyalty. Grant that in all things they may serve with integrity and with honor. O God, from whom come all holy desires, all good counsels, and all just works, give to us, your servants, that peace which the world cannot give, that our hearts may be set to obey your commandments, and also that we, being defended from the fear of our enemies, may live in peace and quietness. Through Jesus Christ, your Son, our Lord, who lives and reigns with you in the Holy Spirit, one God, now and forever. Amen.
So, flag salute, please. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States. Republic for one nation, indivisible, with for all.
We'll move right into the consent agenda. I'd like to ask that we remove BB, CC, DD, and EE.
BB, CC, DD, and EE.
Yes.
Okay. Need to remove one too, and I'm trying to find it.
Okay.
F,
F,
sorry.
any other items? Do we have a recommendation?
Movement to accept consent agenda, excuse me,
As amended?
as amended, yes.
Thank you.
Second.
Second, Counselor Baker.
Counselor Allen,
Yes.
Counselor Baker,
Yes.
Counselor Long,
Yes.
motion carried.
Thank you. Ray, would you like to go into the recognition employee of the month?
Absolutely.
Employee of the month this month is Ryan Young with Code Enforcement. Ryan's been here close to a year and a half now. He has done a tremendous job around the city helping kind of clean up things. He has been instrumental in about 16 different structures that were in dilapidated form being demolished. He has been instrumental in bringing to the situation that we've had with certificates of compliance, getting people to pay what they're supposed to pay. He's also stepped up the game as far as getting people to mow and clean up. Ryan has been very diligent in his job duties and has taken training and seeking more training. He's been very dependable, someone that I can lean on and make sure that things are getting done. And so very proud to nominate him for this award and with the
There she
mayor
is.
and Miss Pate, she will come and do the presentation.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As Ray already stated, he was nominated Ryan. And one thing though I wanted to point out, as Ray did not say, but he did say in his nomination, that Ryan has taken his role as enforcement officer very seriously and has brought a level of professionalism to the position that includes compassion, understanding, and fairness across the board. So please join me tonight in recognizing Ryan. Thank you.
I think we would all acknowledge that can be a rather tough job at times, and thank you very much because you do it with, I don't want to say grace because you're a guy, but you do it with compassion. How about that? Compassion. Not that a guy can be graceful, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I forgot to mention too, he did get shot at with a staple gun for telling a guy there was a staple gun, wasn't it?
So, okay.
It's a dangerous job.
How does one shoot at one with a staple gun? Just so I know, how does that work? You just,
Construction.
Oh,
okay. So this was not a joke. He was seriously trying to staple you? Okay.
Were you able to avoid it? Okay, all right.
Did Ray get you some safety goggles? Okay.
we appreciate your work. Thank you so much. Is there someone here from the library this evening?
Oh, I heard Cherokee was leaving.
She
So
is.
That's like devastating
It
news.
is
She's done an
Bummer.
amazing job.
Yeah, she has.
She's really
She
had
has.
like put the library on the map.
I hope everyone saw on Facebook the new lettering that's on the front of the library. It's very nice. Is there anyone here from the chamber tonight to give a report? Wowzer. I can't believe I just said wowzer. Tour Tahlequah? There we go. Thank you. If you would state your name, please.
I'm Alex McBride. I am filling in for Gina McPhail. She's currently visiting Las Vegas, but we don't have to worry about her because she's hiking. So don't have to worry about that. For April, it was a very busy month. As most of y'all know, we had the Crawfish Festival in Redfern. With Redfern, as far as advertising goes, we ran 6 billboards, social media ads, and Google ads. Main Street said they had record-breaking numbers, so that was very exciting. With Crawfish, we ran 8 billboards, print, radio, TV, and Google ads. And they told us last year they sold 1,400 pounds of crawfish, and this year they sold 4,000 pounds. So definitely a big increase there.
But how much beer?
You'd have to ask Croner that one. I don't think we keep track of that.
This guy's like, I had 12.
He was served.
We've also been running Google ads, and in March, we had over 1 million impressions on Google, which is phenomenal. We've also running 8 different print ads. On our website, we had over 8,000 users. And then on social media, on Facebook, we reached 69,000 people. And then on Instagram, we reached 6,000 people. So very good months. That is all.
Any question for tourism? Thank you for what you all are doing. Make it a better place. And we have Jamie with Tahlequah Main Street.
Hello, good evening, Mayor and Council. Jamie Hale, Director of Tahlequah Main Street. So the last meeting, right before we left, we were headed to the Main Street Awards. On May 2nd, we had several, probably, I think there was 17, 18 of us that attended the Oklahoma Main Street Awards, which was a good thing. So we are proud to say that TMSA came home with awards for outstanding image promotion for the community rebrand, which was actually a group effort with several other partners throughout the community, which was the City of Tahlequah, the Tahlequah Area Chamber of Commerce, the Tourism Council. So we were very excited to be able to bring home that award, as well as Best Main Street Retail Event for Ladies Night Out. And we are also proud to announce, which you may have seen, but that we brought home the unexpected but most appreciated title of Main Street Program of the Year for all of Oklahoma. Thank you. And we do have many of our board members and Red Fern committee members. If you guys will raise your hand or stand up for just a
Please
minute.
stand.
So we want to recognize those folks. Thank you. And of course, we could not do that without the support of our community. So we sure appreciate it. Next on our to-do list is the big impact. They have the committee set down. They did select the 3 finalists for the Big Impact Grant, which is an exclusive micro grant through TMSA for our merchant partners that gives them the chance to submit their exterior facade projects for a chance to win a grant to help make a big impact in the downtown corridor. Those finalists are the Hendricks Building, which is located at 108 South Muskogee Avenue. They have put in for a facade rehabilitation. If you don't know where that is, that holds Threads Consignment, the 108 Yoga Studio, Dina's Art Den. There's 4 or 5, Moon Dance Photography is one of those. So there's 4 or 5 different businesses within that building. Then we also have a Bloom Flowers and Gifts for a new updated metal awning outside of their building, and Kroner and Bear to add a pickleball court. So be looking for those videos. They will be coming out very soon, and voting will begin June 12th and go through June 16th. And then we will present, we will vote through the 16th, and then we will present that at the Grow with Main Street event downtown, which is June 16th. That is a celebration. Tahlequah Main Street is celebrating 20 years this year. And so that is a big celebration. There will be carnival games, balloons. We're showing a movie in the park, all kinds of things. We just got out of a meeting for that today. So June 16th. And then last but not least, Red Fern Festival. So I am going to give you a few little updates on that. We did have 17 dedicated committee members. Again, some of those are in the crowd this evening that were tasked with the 2023 Red Fern Festival. They had the privilege of working with over a dozen community partners. And the Red Fern Festival did see record-breaking numbers of over 20,000 people this year. The festival had 162 food and retail vendors, 64 Red Fern pageant contestants, 52 hound dogs competed, 14 bands and musicians, 2 mini pups to count, 2 giant tortoises, and 1 Sasquatch. So that's kind of our little rundown of numbers right now. And then our volunteers logged over 1,424 hours for Red Fern Festival. With the current monetary value of volunteer hours, which right now is $31.80 per hour, that is a contribution of over $45,000 in volunteer hours alone. So,
Thank you.
yeah, so, and that's really all I have, unless you have any questions or.
I feel like the pickleball and beer has an advantage in that kind of vote. Like that's kind of skewed.
You never know. I am surprised every year. So, and it's really exciting because the platform that we use now, you can see those numbers in kind of a live mode. So yeah, you can sit there like at midnight the last night and kind of see it flutter
Does-
around.
Does it stop people from voting more than once?
Nope. It is $1 per vote. And yeah, you can vote as many times as you would like. And that funding, just so you know, any money that is raised through that voting goes right back into those reinvestment funds for next year's project. So,
I do have one question. How far are we reaching, if you wouldn't mind? Like, how far do you know of someone coming specifically for the Redford Festival? How far they traveled? I would be kind of curious to that if we knew.
we actually had the nephew of Billy, is that correct? Or no, the nephew of Wilson Rolls came to Redfern. Do you remember where he was from? New Mexico. So we do know we reached that far. So,
Wonderful.
but I can get you a,
Well, I was just curious, from, I was just wanting to see how far the footprint,
right.
that we're going outward.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you, ma'am.
Into regular session now, number 6, discussion and possible action on items removed from the consent agenda. F,
So page 17 and 18, I was a little confused and I wanted Nathan here to explain. And since he's not here, I may request that we table this till Nathan's here. Because it looks like it shows they're requesting to transfer this 50,000 over.
I think we can answer that for you.
Okay, and then it says equipment, but then it doesn't say what equipment. It just says equipment, and then I can't read these other advertising, sponsorships,
Yes,
something, TV, radio.
that, the mayor and I met with tourism, go over that and ask
Okay.
exactly, and Chamber of Commerce to find out what they were doing.
Okay,
The $50,000 is for that. It's going to be an annual request that they have that for
Okay.
the Christmas lights, for continuing to purchase
Okay.
Christmas lights and add on to what we did last year.
okay, so there's not a detail for the $50,000, it's just
Other
like,
than that, other than this, to spend on those lights, it is a
Okay.
estimate of what they did, and that's what, Mr. Chapman went ahead and budgeted for that amount for them to
Okay.
do that, so.
okay, so that would that not fall under supply? Would that be classified as an equipment because of the cost? I mean, because those are small, does that make sense? Does my question make sense, Mr. Hammonds, or this Mr. Hammonds? Because typically, if it's a small disposable item, it would be more of a supply compared to if you're buying a tractor, it would be equipment over a certain amount. So I didn't remember what our amount was to determine what was the supply and what was equipment. And if we have it,
The purchasing ordinance just says that whether it be classified as supplies, equipment, or otherwise, $25,000 competitive bids must be obtained unless council
Okay.
waives competitive
Okay.
bidding.
okay, so even if we possibly have it miscategorized, we'll still take care of that when we do the competitive bid on it. It'll be covered.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any other comments on that, Marty, as the treasurer? Okay, were you agreeable?
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, so we'll still have sufficient money left in the fund.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any further question on that though?
And that was it, just Christmas lights?
Is there a motion on that item?
Having it been, I think the information, did you ascertain the information that you wanted?
Yeah.
Then I'll go ahead and. Yes, okay.
Just, and also with that, on their contract, we added that they have to provide receipts for everything.
Okay.
And we did change their contract. Esquire Hammond's here.
Yeah,
He took care of the review of that. They will have to provide receipts for whatever they purchase.
okay, but that's normally what they do though, right?
Right.
Whitney, they always have to provide that in great detail. Okay.
Then I go ahead and move, accept.
Second.
Counselor Baker,
Yes.
Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Counselor Long,
Yes.
motion carried.
Thank you all. Items BB through EE.
We're recommending be tabled at this time to be brought back up at mid-month.
Right. Number 7. Open discussion for clarity and direction from council and city attorney as to the responsibilities of staff to provide any and all legal open records requests in a timely and complete manner.
City council as to legal counsel, yes, I'm sorry. But I was gonna refer that to you, Mr. Hammonds, as to your any and all clarification you can give to that matter.
Sure. Honorable Mayor, members of the council, the Open Records Act is clear. If a record is deemed to be an open record, the city staff must respond in a reasonable amount of time to that request. Reasonable is a lawyer's favorite word. It simultaneously means nothing and everything. In that something is something cannot be reasonable in the ether. It must be reasonable based upon circumstances then prevailing. A request for open records cannot unduly burden the critical operations of the city government or the city officials. So that does not say that city officials have to say that I will get to that when I feel like it. They have to treat that with the urgency that the legislature requires, but they need not stop at all times and say, this is my number one priority to the exclusion of every other priority. They must respond reasonably based upon the circumstances then prevailing. Especially if those records required are voluminous requests, especially if those records require some type of redaction. So I cannot sit here and say for certain whether any particular request has been unreasonably delayed or has taken too long. The question is going to depend upon what has been requested, what is its purpose, does it need redaction, and what else is competing for the city's staff's time and resources at that given moment. But certainly, no question, the legislature has declared access to open records substantial interest, and city staff must treat that concurrently.
Are there any requirements when requesting?
I don't understand the question, Council.
Are there any requirements that a person must go through or as city council that we must comply with when asking for those city records?
Records requests need to be directed at the city clerk. She is the custodian of all city records. So while I know often it is the informal practice that certain members of city staff will reply, record requests need to be directed to the city clerk so they can be properly logged and categorized.
Okay.
Is that in writing?
Do we have a formal city policy on that? If we don't have one, I certainly would recommend that we create one and adopt a formal policy so that everyone's roles in this process are clear.
Then I would go ahead and think that would be a good idea. And just so for everybody, whether it's Joe from the street or even us, that we all have the same requirements that we have to follow. So I would just like to see that if at all possible.
My office could be happy to draft something for council review.
Anything else, Councilor Baker?
No, that was pretty much it.
Thank you so much. Number 8, presentation and acknowledgement, the receipt of the fiscal year June 30th, 2022 audit from Arledge and Associates. City Treasurer.
Yeah, in your packs, you'll have the audit from Arledge. I think they're here with us to give us an overview, but in summary, it was another good audit for the city of Tahlequah. So we could chalk up a finger on that one. So as far as any major material misstatements or findings, it was pretty clean. If you want to take over and give a summary of it.
Sure. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Kenzie Duarte. I'm a partner at Arledge. The engagement partner, Jake Winkler, was not able to come today. He was double booked today. I can assure you he's not hiking in Vegas. It may not be as fun, right? But he's just in another meeting. I feel like he wish he was, right? But essentially, yes, correct. In our opinion, the financial statements present fairly. We do present on a modified opinion. In simple words, it means it's the cleanest audit that you can obtain, right? We do, in our opinion, page 5 of the report, We do make note to note 6, which is the implementation for GASB 87. And that was just giving some guidelines about how non-financial assets were going to be recorded in the financials now, mainly vehicles, heavy equipment, and things like that. There were no material changes to the financial statements because of it. And on the opinion this year, you will see on page 6 of the report, we now have what the auditors performing items in bullet points rather than in paragraphs. It used to be in paragraphs. It changed the opinion now where it's just in bullet points. But other than that, nothing there. It just means that during the year you have been making decisions on materially correct numbers, which is what you're looking for, right? That during the year, those are the numbers are materially correct, that decisions are being made properly.
Deal.
We also have on the page 89, it is not out of an opinion, but it is a report. We are doing the audit. We need to present and inform whether there was any internal control deficiencies during the year. And we did not encounter any control deficiencies during the year for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2022, which is great, right? Great news there. You will see some differences between last year's and this year's report, in which this year there is not a single audit. And the reason for that is there was not, the threshold is $750,000 of federal expenditures. So during the year, there were the expenditures for federal grants received. There was not spent more than $750,000. I believe it was close to that. It was about $660,000. So it didn't get to the threshold where it required a single audit. And so you will see that we do not present a single audit this year because of that reason. I would also like to go over the communication, post-audit communication letter. And in that, we do make note to the change in accounting principles in order to implement the GASB 87 guidance. And we also evaluated key factors and assumptions used to develop the accounting estimates for the financial statements.
I'm
And-
sorry, can I ask a question? You said
Sure.
that you're talking about the post-audit confirmation letter?
Communication letter.
Communication.
Yes,
Is
correct. I
that right
believe
here in our
it's-
package? Is that page 5? Is that what we're talking about?
Correct.
Page 5? Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was looking at the right page.
Yeah,
Okay,
correct,
thank you.
yeah. And then we evaluated the key factors on the estimates and in determining that they were reasonable in relation to the financial statement as a whole. We also encountered no significant difficulties in dealing with management in performing and completing our audit. We do present and report the an adjustment related to accounts payable, about $73,000 that we identified during the audit this year. And we're also pleased to report that there were no disagreements during the course of our audit and completing it. And before I open it up for any questions, just want to point out the other difference that you'll see. It's also, this is the second year where there were no findings on the financial statements. So I think I want to, it speaks volumes, right, about the work that Alan Chapman and his team been doing and turning around that and making sure that there's no findings and resolving those, right, that used to be previous years.
Thank you.
So with that, I open up for any questions.
Any questions from this body?
Were there any major concerns or even slight concerns? Go ahead and air the dirty laundry if at all possible.
I would not be able to speak to that, and the reason is because I was not part of the engagement. We are open for questions like those. You can make sure to give us a call and we'll respond, and Jake Winkler will be able to respond to that.
Okay.
So it would be, I'm not sure there were, I'm sure, I know there was nothing material since it's not reported on the financials,
Okay.
right? So if there were, it was communication and were addressed properly.
Okay.
Any questions from the public? Mr. Uzo?
I sent everyone an email that your audit was delinquent. because it's supposed to be due by December 31st. And I would like Arledge and Associates, a great firm. Okay, the so is Crawford and Associates. They were the leaders in our governmental accounting for 2 days. But the fact is your subsidiary, the other primary trusts are delinquent in terms of sending it to you, so you can't get your work done. So somehow you need to encourage CPWA, especially the hospital authority, to get the records to you so these gentlemen can get their work done. You don't want to be at risk for the motor fuel tax, okay? And that really concerns me. And they're very eloquent in terms of what they do. They know what they do. And the big issue is, what are we going to do with Northeastern Health System? It's a blended unit, very complex. And I couldn't even find Northeastern Health System in Sequoia in the audit. Okay, and they owe us $11 million in accounts payable. Okay, and the concern that they had at the thing is you have to look at I won't use the word that they end up using, but unable to pay their bills. I said, we'll pay our bills when the money is available. And that bothers me as an audit. That's very accommodating in terms of an audit. They may have used more descriptive words. Okay, thank you, but you're a great firm.
Thank you so much, sir. Any other comments from the audience? Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
You betcha. Is there an motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counselor Long,
Yes.
Counselor Allen,
Yes.
Counselor Baker,
Yes.
motion carried.
Thank you so much. Number 9, discussion and possible action to approve with modification, or deny resolution number 0605-2023, a resolution adopting the fiscal year 23-24 City of Tahlequah budget. I'll let you.
That's the department administration. City. I've been working hard to put together for 23-24. It's probably the most single important document that we have, as it defines, it operates as a blueprint. It defines how our resources are collected and expended and allocated. Another way of doing it is like our sources and uses of funds. The City of Tahlequah budget becomes a blueprint for the city's objective and are articulated and implemented in terms in concrete. In other words, what levels activities are funded and how much is spent on operating and capital. Of course, by law, the city is required to present a balanced budget. With that being said, I believe the mayor's budget is reasonable, rational, obtainable, and balanced. The City of Tahlequah's treasurer, I would recommend.
I do have one kind of clarification. I mentioned, I think, was it on the first, or that there were some discrepancies? I'm noticing that the 33,626,000 is corrected on page 1.
Yeah.
Well, I'm showing that they both are the same as of now. Was there any other changes that you did between now and the first?
Need to come to the podium, please. But you wore nice shoes. Yeah.
Michelle always looks good.
The only other change was that the money that flows through the city from the authorities to pay my salary for the authorities was not included on the managerial line item. And so I made a line item for that so that it is reflected there. That's the only other change. It's 16,000 to cover my salaries and all the benefits related. Which is like retirement and tax.
Do we get from them? I thought it was 6.
I get paid 6. I transfer over 8.
Okay.
And then, not including. Not including that.
Just mine, yes.
Okay. Very good.
And those are the only 2 changes I made. I corrected the error on the resolution and I added the line item.
Any more questions for Michelle or anyone else?
I just want to say, Michelle, you do an amazing job. Thank you very much. The audit, that was a really great audit. So people don't understand what all you do to make that document, even though it's a very long, very boring document.
Yes.
No offense to Arledge. Most
It's a
people,
great read.
most
Great
people,
read.
most people try to avoid those, but Michelle, you guys did an amazing job in our accounting
Thank you.
department and you continue to do a good job. Thank you for that.
Any other question?
I would like to say too that during this process, me stepping in as interim, got a new mayor, new council, and things were kind of changed. This is the first time a lot of these folks up here had seen a change in administration all at once this large. And by that happening, things have had to be adjusted in this budget from when the past administration left and this was started over. Michelle has been wonderful to work with me in trying to find solutions and numbers and answers. So trying to meet all the requests, and I appreciate her hard work and patience in dealing with me during this time. So
Thank you.
she's not too hateful, but that teacher thing comes out every now and then.
And not to take any of those kudos away from Michelle, but we've had wonderful help from our Director of Finance, Alan Chapman. So don't want that to go unnoted. So any other questions? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Guys are pinch poke. How about a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Counselor Long,
Yes.
Counselor Allen,
Yes.
Counselor Baker,
Yes.
motion carries.
So much. Moving into item 10, discussion of possible action to approve with modification or deny resolution 2023A, a resolution relating to the incurring of indebtedness by the trustees of the Tahlequah Public Facilities Authority and waiving competitive bidding with respect thereto, and approving a note purchase agreement, security agreement, and other documents as may be necessary or required. Yet I'm going to defer to Marty,
Yeah, again,
City
This is-
Treasurer.
agenda. It's been reviewed, the 13 bond. I mentioned earlier in the previous meeting, kind of an overview. And we'll highlight those again real quick. The 2013 bond is approved. It has been funding projects for the last 10+ years. We've gotten to a point now where our revenue that was projected in the bond has been greater than the actual projections. And so we recently went through a fall option at 10 years, and we have enough money in reserves to technically pay off the 13 bond. The flip side to that is we haven't finished the projects. And so this would give us the opportunity to refund that bond, continue collecting the sales tax and through the original maturity of, I believe, April of 28. And so, you know, by doing this, it will, right now we have like 4.2 million left available to spend. And we have several projects, and the mayor and city administrator could go into the details on those projects that need to be completed as promised for the 13 bond. And so we've been meeting with bond counsel and bankers and have a plan to refund the 13 bond and get ample funds to finish those projects. And so we've had a lot of meetings and not a lot of meetings, but a lot of discussions, with the options and what to do. So I believe this is the best option. And with the approval, we'll continue to move forward with progress and come.
Would the waiving of the competitive bidding agreement still keep us within compliance?
Assuming that this body were to approve it, yes, sir.
Okay.
And Mayor, if I can add just one small piece, just for the benefit of those listening and maybe for those of city officials who are confused about why we're having to approve this twice. The state constitution does prohibit municipalities such as the city of Tahlequah from incurring indebtedness except upon the approval of the voters. Since the late 1960s, through what's called the Public Trust Act, cities have been able to access the bond market through having public trust incur indebtedness. To authorize the Tahlequah Public Facilities Authority to incur that indebtedness, the city council must approve that action. So you have already authorized the Tahlequah Public Facilities Authority to get that debt. This vote is to allow yourselves to get that debt. So that's why you're voting on it twice.
So much for the clarification. Any other questions?
Once again, a big thank you to Marty and Alan and Michelle for all they've done to redo this bond stuff, because this has been going on for what, since 2011?
Yeah.
2013, 2013. Yeah. Yeah,
I'm shooting.
a really long time. So thank you guys for doing this and putting the time and effort into doing this. This is greatly appreciated. Thank you, guys. And with that, I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Counselor Long,
Yes.
Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Counselor Baker,
Yes.
motion carried.
Thank you so much. Number 11, discussion and possible action to approve with modification, or deny entering into an urban project agreement with ODOT for project number TAP 3-79678-004, TP State Job Number 3796704. Sidewalk on South Muskogee Avenue, also US 62 from South Muskogee to State Highway 51 to the South Muskogee and South Ridge Road, Nancy Ward Drive intersection. Total project estimate, $1,498,478. ODOT is to provide up to $1,123,858, which is 75% of the cost. And city to provide $374,620, which is 25% of the cost. Mr. Tannehill.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, council. So this is a project that we applied for a grant for. The basic details of the project is constructing a walk from the major intersection in front of Walmart down to South Ridge Road in front of the casino there. So the council passed a resolution in support of the project and authorize staff to submit the grant. The grant was submitted in December, and in March, the ODOT commissioners awarded the project. And what you have before you tonight is authorizing the mayor to enter into a funding agreement with the state of Oklahoma Department of Transportation to allow us to proceed with the project.
Does that include a walkway through the highway, or?
The way the concept was designed was actually one sidewalk. It's designed on the east side of the highway. We're probably going to shift that to the west side of the highway. But it includes updating all the intersections in between for ADA compliance. So, but there won't be a walkway.
Well, what I'm asking is that we're going to have some people where they can actually walk across that highway to the other side. Am I correct?
Yeah, there will be ADA compliant intersections with.
Now, I was part of that conversation whenever we originally had that with the Cherokees.
Mhm.
And at that time, they were not wanting that. Have we reached out to them and asked, and who did we speak with?
So a part of the application is actually getting a support letter from the district engineer for our district. And so we received that as a part of our.
Who on the Cherokees did we speak with?
Oh, I don't know if we spoke specifically to anybody.
Then I think we probably need to speak with them, I would
They're
think.
moving it to the opposite side of the road.
Well, I'm trying to make sure that if we on the intersection, that we go from, because we actually were part of that construction crew, or I was actually part of that construction crew that did that. And we were of the agreement that putting a walkway through one of the busiest highways was something that we probably wanted to hold off on till we actually were sure that we were not encouraging people walking across a highway. And I'm going to defer to our city council on that part, if that's, something that we need to consider, just from a safety issue. But also that I would also like to know that the Cherokees are okay.
Yeah.
Because at that time they were not.
Okay, I'll correct my statement. We did have a conversation with Michael Lynn, and they have subsequently submitted an application to do a study on a sidewalk from where we're ending to the complex. And I don't think that
It's not, well, I'm more worried about the intersection because that is a very, very busy street.
Right,
And
which
I-
currently currently it does not have any appropriate improvements to allow people to cross safely. These improvements.
Not that they're actually, I was on that job site for over 2 years and rarely does anyone cross that.
They are enhanced crosswalks.
And do we know any additional safety issues that might occur?
I think the safety issues are resolved through the project.
Well, we still don't have their, an agreement with them that they're acceptable to it. That's my major problem is that if we haven't gotten their approval with that, I would think that would be something normal people would do, is that if you're going to have a walkway, they're okay with it as well. Considering it's their property.
This is all within ODOT's right of way.
Well, I know it's all, but I mean, like, whenever we put the signals in, we specifically time those signals for like, whenever people were like dropping off their children to the school at 16 seconds. So that was probably where we got most of the traffic. Now, incurring that, whenever you do put that walkway, if there is, which there is not, because I mean, literally during those 2 years, I rarely saw more than, if at all, one person walk across there a day between those two places.
Okay.
So that's why I would like to
Would you
have,
like
I would like to at least know that the Cherokees are aware of it.
They are.
And they're okay with it. But according to you, we haven't got approval from them, or at least talked to them.
We have talked with Michael Lynn, who works for the Cherokee Nation in the Road Projects Department.
Okay.
And this project was supported by the Street and Sidewalk Committee. And a member of that committee also works for the Cherokee Nation.
Okay, well, I would like to have their approval first.
Okay.
That's Andy Harris and Michael Lynn, which are basically the two top people in that department under Cherokee Nation, correct?
I don't know exactly how they're
Cherokee
structured.
Nation businesses would probably be the correct department, considering that's the casino.
Is there any other discussion?
Well, then I would like to table this till we actually talk to Cherokee Nation businesses.
Yes, please.
It makes sense to put an enhanced crosswalk there for the safety reasons, because they will tell people when to walk. I don't care if there is one person walking across. It's a free for all right now. At least if there's a light there that says walk, don't walk, it's
But
controlled.
it's an extremely, I mean, I'm not,
If you're within ODOT's right of way, it's state property.
I understand.
So even for one person, if they was to get hit, there's no enhancement that says to walk, don't walk.
And that's fine.
They might even say to tell them to walk for the
But
vision in there.
do you understand where I might consider that we would like to at least
I get
let them in on it?
If they that's state. We maintain,
Okay.
but it's a safety issue, nothing else.
It's a safety, I mean, are we encouraging at that point, Counselor?
Certainly, this body has the ability to regulate street usage in the city of Tahlequah. People should not, people know the law, they know not to jaywalk in that instance. So
Yes.
I don't think we're encouraging, we certainly are not encouraging people to break the law.
Well, I would just like to have their approval first and make sure that we are talking to them, because if we're not talking to them, we should.
Is there a motion?
I think he tabled, but nobody seconded his table, so.
Correct.
Give me a second.
To that, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry.
You're good. Is there a second? Seeing no second? Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Thank you.
Counselor Long,
Yes.
Counselor Allen,
Yes.
Counselor Baker. Motion carried.
Thank you so much. Number 12, discussion and possible action to approve with modification, or deny entering into an urban project agreement with ODOT for project number TAP 380360004 TP. State job number 3803604. Connect to trail near Basin and then north to First Street, then to the alley between Muskogee Avenue and Water Avenue, north on Grand along Smith Street to the north and Oak to the east. Total project estimate $1,817,045. ODOT to provide up to $1,345,767, which is 75%. And the city to provide $471,278, which is 25%. Mr. Tannehill.
Thank you, Mayor. So again, this is another grant that was awarded by ODOT through the same parameters of a resolution of support from the council in November and a subsequent submittal of the grant in December and awarded in March. This project consists of a trail extension along Tahlequah Creek, or I'm lost with the name of Town Branch. I'm sorry. So the project would be extending the trail near Phelps Park and connecting that to Kaufman Park, and also the Senior Citizens Center to allow them direct access onto the trail system. And then the second part of this is an extension of the trail system from Norris Park north to Going Snake, and then connecting that to the Fit Center at NSU and the sidewalk that's on Grand. Any questions on this one?
I have a question. That 471 for our part that comes from street and sidewalk. Is that right?
It does not. So the Street and Sidewalk Fund is strictly for street and sidewalks. This is for a trail project. And so the budget that was previously approved on this agenda includes a transfer from the general fund for this exact amount.
Any questions?
I have a hard time, making sure people have walkways when we can't even get their stormwater fixed. I know
Are
that
there
this
any
is
questions pertaining to this matter?
okay. My question is that from a necessity, what kind of bridges is this going to actually occur?
So these would be very similar to the existing bridges that are currently in our park system. In Sequoia Park, you have the bridge that crosses the creek right there by the armory. So something of very similar design.
Okay, any personal walkways or anything like that?
What do you mean by personal walkway?
Well, I mean, any walking bridges that, over streets or anything like that? I'm just kind of asking that question.
No.
Would this trail be very similar to the bike trail that you have as far as the width?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
We would, depending on the amount, the cost of the actual project, I know it's a hefty cost there. We may entertain concrete rather than the asphalt.
To cut costs, is that correct?
Not necessarily to cut costs, but to ensure longevity of the trail. If it's concrete, it'll certainly last longer.
Thank you. Any further questions from the body?
Taylor, as always, you do an amazing job. We appreciate everything you do.
Thank you.
So thank you very much. And I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Counselor Long,
Yes.
Counselor Allen,
Yes.
Counselor Baker,
No.
motion carried.
Thank you so much. Number 13, discussion and possible action to approve with modification, or deny resolution number 0605-2023C. A resolution changing the zoning from local commercial district C1 to regional commercial district C3 on a property located at 1598 Park Hill Road, Tahlequah, Oklahoma, more particularly described as follows: Lot 3 through 5, Block 2, Cherokee Hills Edition, City of Tahlequah, Cherokee County, Oklahoma. Mr. Tannehill.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll begin with the staff and planning commission recommendation, which is to approve the resolution as it's presented. Little history context of the property. The property was platted back in the 60s for residential purposes. The property was subsequently zoned in 1989 from R3 to C1. The applicant is requesting a C3 zoning designation this evening. If you take a look at the case map on page 101 of the packet, you'll notice the zoning around the area, which includes C3 to the east, C3 to the north and west, and C2 also to the west. You do have some multifamily zoning just to the south. This application for the wholesale establishment did require a special exception to be granted by the Board of Adjustment, which was approved contingent on this body's approval this evening. It was voted unanimously to approve by the Planning Commission. And if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions from the body? Counselors?
So moved. So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Counselor Allen,
Yes.
Counselor Long,
Yes.
Counselor Baker,
Yes.
motion carried.
Thank you so much. And number 14, discussion and possible action to approve with modification, or deny supplemental agreement for inspection services provided by Lochner Engineering. Mr. Hammonds, are you representing?
Mr. Lambert is gone this week. I would like to table this to the next meeting, so we can have proper discussion.
Sure.
And our conversation with, our city attorney, we're going to be meeting with them and kind of get a little more information.
Okay, so one of us has to say we have to make a motion to table, correct? I'll make a motion to table.
Second.
Roll call.
Counselor Long,
Yes.
Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Counselor Baker,
Yes.
motion to table carried.
Thank you so much. Item number 15.
No nest. It's not needed.
Okay, we will move on to 17. Discussion and possible action we'll go on to 18. Discussion and possible action regarding mid-month meeting. That would be for, golly, June? I know. June the 19th at 5:30 PM. Is that acceptable?
That's a holiday.
No, that's Juneteenth.
That's Juneteenth.
Oh, we won't even be here. Is the 20th acceptable to council?
Yes, I'll be here.
Councilor Baker?
Yes.
I'm gonna back to it, but yeah, Stephen will be back.
Okay.
If
So-
he comes back.
You know, Joe.
So the
I think he has
mid-month,
to get his children.
you're fine, is going to be Tuesday, June the 20th at 5:30 PM in these chambers. Is there a motion for, I would just like to say, thank you for your patience with me. This is a learning curve in many cases, and I do appreciate the council and the others giving me some guidance when needed, and I appreciate that very much. So with that being said, I'd like to ask if there's a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Counselor Long,
Yes.
Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Counselor Baker,
Yes.
meeting adjourned.